Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Jaded Blossom's Black Friday sale has started and it's a great time to grab those items you've been wanting. And I would suggest not waiting since I know many of the items will sell out. And I do have a link for Jaded Blossom in the description box below. In addition to the amazing sale, Jaded Blossom has also released some fun new products. I do want to mention that the September, October, and November release items are not included in the sale. First up, we have the Christmas Blessings Stamp and Coordinating Outline Die Set. I love the sentiments on this set. Lots of great Christian-themed Christmas sentiments. I know I'll be using this set again and again. I love having a variety of Christmas sentiments, but I will admit the Christian ones are my favorite. There's also a new gnome add-on set called Church Add-ons. This set basically includes images for the gnomes to hold, or you can use those images individually. We have the church, the sentiment joy, there's a cross, the star, an angel, and also a Bible. And I think this is a great set to use year-round. You could use the Bible image on a sympathy card or praying for you card. The next stamp set is called Happy Hanukkah. It's mostly sentiments, but there's also an image of the Star of David. Jaded Blossom also released a Hanukkah add-on set for the gnomes. And this is similar to the church set since there's just images for either the gnomes to hold or you can use them individually. There's a dreidel, the Star of David, and also a menorah. It's nice that they offer the image with the hand holds for the gnome and also the images to be used individually. The final stamp set is called Happy New Year. So we have the sentiment set and also the coordinating outline dies. Lots of fun sentiments to help celebrate the new year. And then of course they have the gnome add-on set for New Year's. This set is a little different. There are a couple of items for the gnomes to wear. So we have the hat with Happy New Year. There's the glasses where you can put the year 2023 on it. There's a bottle of champagne, a glass of champagne, and also the party blower. Plus you can have your gnome hold the sign 2023. So all of these sets are now available, and I do have a few cards to share with you using the new sets. For some of the cards, the pattern paper I'll be using is from Blvd. It's their Let Us Adore Him collection. I believe it was released either last year or the year before. I bought extra since I love this collection, and lately it's been harder to find Christian-themed Christmas papers. For card design number 1, I'm using a card sketch for inspiration. This is from MFT. It's number 286. I used one of Jaded Blossom's Scallop Rectangle dies to cut out the background, and I love how it adds that extra little detail around the scallops. I did use some white shimmer cardstock for that piece. Then I'll layer that piece on some dark teal cardstock, put some ATG tape on the back, and add my card front onto a card base. All of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. For pattern paper, I selected two different designs, one with baby Jesus in the manger, and the other is the opposite side of that paper with a light teal and white polka dot. To adhere that narrow strip down, I did put some double-sided tape on the back, but for the other piece, I used some ATG tape. And I will be changing up this sketch just a bit. Instead of this circle, I'm adding a stitched oval die cut, and I used some craft cardstock for that. I already have all of the gnomes assembled just to save time on this video, but you can always check out one of my other Jaded Blossom videos if you want to see how to assemble the gnomes. You can also head over to Jaded Blossom's YouTube channel. There are some great tutorials over there. Leanne always does a wonderful job showing how to assemble everything. This little gnome is holding a gold star. And I did cut out the star from some gold satin mirror cardstock. I've already stamped and cut out the sentiment, Jesus is the reason for the season. That's my favorite sentiment on the whole set. Using the outline dies, I cut out a second piece from some gold mirror cardstock, and I'll layer the two pieces together so I have that beautiful gold drop shadow. And I did pop up the sentiment using some thin foam dimension. To finish off the card, I'll add a couple of banners in the upper left-hand corner, and both of these dies are from Jaded Blossom's banner die set. I'll adhere the yellow banner down using liquid adhesive. Then I'm adding a small scrap piece of cardstock to the right of the yellow banner before adhering the teal banner on top. For embellishments, I'm using some clear gem stickers, and these are just from my stash. I'll put 2 in the upper left-hand corner and 3 around the little gnome. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For card design number 2, the card sketch is from Sugar Pea Designs. This is Sugar Sketch number 21. I have some yellow tone-on-tone star paper for the background. For the 2 triangles, I'm using more of the light teal and white polka dot paper. I will use a corner chomper to round that bottom corner on both of the triangles. Then I'll adhere them in place using some liquid adhesive. I'll layer this piece on some dark blue cardstock. Put some ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. One of my favorite pattern papers has lots of the nativity images all over it. So I used Jaded Blossom's stitched oval die to cut out one of the images featuring Mary, Joseph, baby Jesus. We also have the 3 wise men and a sheep and a donkey. And I'll adhere that in place using some liquid adhesive. For the small banners in the upper left-hand corner, I selected 3 different colors of solid cardstock. I have the dark blue, some teal, and also some yellow. I'll cut a fishtail on the bottom. I'll adhere the larger dark blue banner down first, trying to make sure to get it nice and straight. Then I'll add a scrap cardstock piece on the right side and the left side of that banner before adhering the yellow and the teal banners. And that'll help keep everything nice and level. One of the scrap cardstock pieces was a little too long, so I did use my scissors to trim it down. I'll adhere the yellow banner on the left and the teal banner on the right. I've already stamped and cut out the sentiment, "Oh Holy Night." Thought that was perfect to go with the nativity scene. And I'll adhere it to the lower portion of the oval using some liquid adhesive. To finish off the card, I'll add a couple of glitter enamel dots in the upper left-hand corner. And these are leftover from a Love from Lizzie kit. And I decided to add a little bit of sparkle to the star over baby Jesus using a clear glitter brush. So there is my finished card, and this time I did make a total of 3. For card design number 3, the card sketch is from OWH. This is number 200. I love this pink pattern paper covered in holly leaves and berries, so I thought that would be perfect for a card. I'm also adding some green plaid pattern paper and a narrow strip of red and white polka dot paper. I'll layer everything on some red cardstock. For a little bit of separation and shine, I'm adding a Love from Lizzie peel off between the green paper and the red polka dot paper. This is the ruby red mirror color in the pinstripe style. I'll wrap those ends around the back, put some ATG tape on the back, and add this panel onto that pink pattern paper background. I'll layer the background on some red cardstock, and apparently I cut that piece a little bit too wide. So I did go and trim that down, put some ATG tape on the back, and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Next, I'll add a stitched oval die cut, and I'll glue that down using liquid adhesive. And this is where my little girl gnome will sit. I already have her all assembled. She's holding the sentiment Joy, and I did use some red glitter paper for the sentiment. And I also added a holly leaf and berries onto her pink hat. For the sentiment, I'm using Christmas Blessings, and I did pop it up using some foam dimension. Then to finish off the card, I'll add some more of the gem stickers around the sentiment. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. Traditional Christmas colors are always fun, but I do like to add that little bit of pink to just a few of my Christmas cards every year. Well, maybe it's more than just a few, but pink always makes me happy. Now moving on to card design number 4, and I believe this is my very first Hanukkah card. I have some light blue cardstock for the background, and using that same light blue cardstock color, I cut out, I think I have 9 of the Star of David. I'll glue them randomly onto the background, and I didn't add one in that very center since it will be covered up with one of the gnome images. For any of the stars that go off the edge, I'll simply flip over that piece, use my scissors to trim it off, and some of those cut off pieces I decided to glue them back onto the card just to fill in some of those areas. Then I'll layer this piece on a dark blue Scallop Rectangle die cut, put my card front onto a card base, and you can see just a peek of that white card base showing. Since I don't have any Hanukkah theme pattern paper, I thought I would just design my own by adding all of the stars to the background. And I really like the look of using the same color cardstock for the die cuts and also that background piece. I have my gnome all assembled, and I did pop him up using some foam dimension. I'll be adhering him on a vellum oval die cut. I'll attach him to the oval first, then I can flip that oval over, put liquid adhesive just in the area where the gnome is. That way the liquid adhesive doesn't show through to the front of the card. For the sentiment, I've already stamped it out. Happy Hanukkah to my gnome. I will cut a fishtail on the right and left side, and I'll pop up this sentiment using some foam dimension. Then I'll adhere this sentiment to the very bottom of the card underneath the gnome holding the menorah. Then for a final finishing touch, I'll add 3 of the gem stickers around my little gnome. And instead of the clear gem stickers I used on the previous card, these have a little bit of an iridescent finish on them. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For the other card, I did use a darker gray cardstock color for his beard, and I also had him holding the menorah, I think a little too high since those candles are going right onto his nose. Wouldn't want him to burn his nose from the flames. Now moving on to card design number 5, and this will be a Happy New Year card. The pattern paper is from a retired MFT collection called Cool Collab. I think I bought it last year. I love the patriotic colors with that little bit of teal mixed in. I selected a light teal, red, and white diagonal stripe paper for the background, layering it on some dark teal cardstock. And for the panel in the center, I used some red and white polka dot paper, also layered that on the dark teal cardstock. I did put a narrow strip of the teal cardstock toward the bottom, and also used a Love from Lizzie peel off at the very bottom of that. This is the clear silver mirror color in the pinstripe style. I have most of my little girl gnome all assembled. Her hat is from the Patriotic add-on set, and her skirt and legs are from the Halloween costume add-on set number 2. For a variety of colors of skin tones, I use a collection from P13 called Skin Tones. This little girl will be holding the mask with the 2023 on it. I used some red iridescent cardstock for the glasses, and I decided to cut a second piece from some red glitter cardstock. I'll attach it to the very top above the 2023, and I'm using a pair of scissors to cut small little snips at that top to sort of add the fringe look to the red glitter paper. She'll also be holding one of the party blowers, and I used the same red and teal colors for that. And you can see I've already attached both of her hands, one to the party blower and the other to the mask. Once I have her all assembled, I'll put some foam dimension on the back and adhere her onto the red and white polka dot paper. I'll make sure to get good coverage. Some of those foam pieces I did trim down. Then I'll remove the release paper and adhere her in place. And I put her high enough so there was space to add the sentiment underneath her. I'll add the sentiment Happy New Year, and I did pop that up with some foam dimension. For a little extra detail, decided to add some narrow banners in the upper left-hand corner. The longer one I cut out from some white cardstock, and the shorter I used the same dark teal cardstock. I'll adhere those down using liquid adhesive, and I will put that small scrap piece of cardstock on the right side of the white banner before attaching the teal banner. You can't see it now because of the mask, but the band on her hat has 3 small star cutouts, and I didn't want those stars to go to waste, so I'm using them to decorate her skirt. I'll just adhere them in place using some liquid adhesive. I did use a white gel pen to add a few highlights to my little girl gnome. Then for a final finishing touch, I'll add some star-shaped bling. Put 2 on the banners in the upper left-hand corner and 3 to the right of the little girl gnome. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. It's probably not the usual colors for a New Year's Day card, but you can never go wrong using patriotic colors. Now moving on to card design number 6, I have some dark blue cardstock, and I used a die from Pink Fresh Studio to add this fun stitch detail. I've also added some gold watercolor splatter. I'll put some ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base. Next, I'll add one of the angel image die cuts, and this is from the Church Gnome add-on set. I cut out that very background piece from some white cardstock. I used some white shimmer cardstock for the angel's dress and some light blue pearlescent cardstock for the wings. I used some skin tone cardstock for the angel's face and some gold iridescent cardstock for the halo. I'll put some foam dimension on the back. Need a smaller piece to go behind her head. The sentiment is, "Joy to the world, the Lord has come." And I did some heat embossing using white embossing powder. I did pop up this sentiment using some foam dimension. I'll add the sentiment to the lower portion of the card. I've already assembled another angel, and I also have the Christmas star. I have foam dimension on the back of all of the pieces. I'll put the 2 angels above the sentiment and the Christmas star all the way at the top of the card. So there is my finished card, and I did end up making a total of 3 since I love how it turned out. Now here's another look at the 14 cards I made using Jaded Blossom's brand new Black Friday release. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links provided in the description box below. I love using Jaded Blossom's Gnome Dies, and they have quickly become very popular. And with the Black Friday sale going on, now is a great time to grab some of those stamp dies or stencils you may have been eyeing. The sale goes through November 28th, and it is while supplies last. For best availability, I would recommend shopping early. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.